Hi everybody, welcome back to the Boileau Family Law Group YouTube channel. My name is Trevor, and today I have with me Marla Miller. She's one of the founding members of Boileau Family Law Group, and today our topic is family lawyers, Edmonton, custody, and child support. A quick quote from Dave Muir says, "A great marriage is not when the perfect couple comes together, it is when an imperfect couple learns to enjoy their differences." And I've got a fun statistic from Stats Canada. According to the 2011 social survey, close to 1 in 5 Canadians were separated or divorced in the past 20 years, with about 1/4 of this group having children 18 or under at the time of the survey. And that is the topic of our discussion today. What is the deal with child custody during separation or divorce? Do you have any stories for us?
Well, my bottom line is, if parenting your children and doing it properly on marriage or relationship breakdown isn't your top priority, it ought to be.
100%. First question that I have for you, Marley, is what are some of the common concerns regarding child custody in a separation or divorce?
When you dig below the surface about what people come in and talk about with respect to their children, it really comes down to fear, and I think parents are very concerned about losing their children, either losing them to the other parent or losing them to another person that might come into their lives and stand in the place of a parental figure to them. And when people come in, that's their fear. But what they talk about is they talk about time, and they talk about control, and they talk about things that are peripheral to what the bottom fear is for them.
Gotcha. That's a really good insight on that question. The next question that I've got for you, Marla, is custody of dependent children is one of the main reasons for contention in the divorce process. How can this be handled by the involved parties to be less stressful and contentious?
I guess my top tip would be to look at it from the children's point of view, because clients come in or parents come in and quite often they think they're thinking about the children's best interests, which is all that the court is going to look at is what's in the best interests of the children, but really it's about themselves. So sometimes we have people it's quite often that people are concerned about how to share Christmas time, and when you get down to it, it's not really about the kids, because the kids, if they could celebrate Christmas every day of the year, they'd be happy. But it's about the adults to the divorce thinking about their own childhood and their own childhood feelings about this. So the best way to deal with things and to minimize conflict is to really think about it from the children's point of view. And when you do think you're thinking about it from the children's point of view, to really take a step back and to say, really, is this about them or is it about me?
No, that's really good. That's great advice. I'm sure you've seen a lot of situations where you can tell that the parents are thinking more about their own feelings and not the concern of the child, and that can be very, very detrimental to both relationships. Question number 3 I have for you is, in your experience, are you seeing a shift towards child custody being awarded to fathers more often than in the past?
Well, it depends on how long the past is, because I've been practicing for 35 years, so my past goes quite a
way back.
And if you're asking about 35 years ago, yes, for sure. But I think that what we're really seeing a move towards more now is shared parenting, but that's not even a recent change. I would say in the last 15 years, there's a lot of shared parenting, and parties are sharing the children's time in such a fashion that they're sharing them 50-50 or at least 40% of the time each for the parents. So I would say that's the biggest trend.
Okay, that's great. Now, what is the best possible outcome regarding child custody?
Well, the best possible outcome is that you come up with something so that the children don't spend their adulthood in therapy.
That would be very good. That would be very good.
And I say that in a light fashion, but parents can sometimes get so caught up in their own conflict that they don't see the fallout that it's having on the children. They think that they're protecting the children from the conflict or they're hiding it. Kids can smell that stuff, and it will impact how they get through their parents' divorce or separation, and they will bring this stuff into their own relationships. And if you're a parent who unfortunately is going through relationship breakdown, the best you can hope for is that your kids somehow come through unscathed and have better skills than you had.
Now, I'm going to ask another question concerning mediation. Is this something that you can handle in a mediation, the child custody portion?
Oh, definitely,
Yeah.
we can handle that in mediation, we handle that in collaboration, but above anything, I think that parenting situations should be negotiated. I think the last thing that you want to do is to let go of your ability to make that decision, you and the other parent to make the other decision, and leave it to a court, because at that point you're basically saying, we give up, we can't agree, hey stranger, come and tell us how we're going to parent our kids for the rest of their dependency. And you wouldn't want a stranger to make decisions about your kids' bedtime, never mind where they're going to live and where they're going to go to school and how much time they're going to spend with each parent. So even a bad agreement is better than going to court.
Right, because then your control is completely gone and someone else makes that decision for everyone involved.
Exactly, yeah.
So switching gears a little bit, still on topic but a little bit different, what is child support for someone who may not really fully understand what that means?
Child support is money that is paid from one parent to the other parent for the support of the children. And there's different levels of child support. There's basic child support that's supposed to go for and be used towards the children's share of housing and utilities and food and clothing. And then there's a different level called special expenses, sometimes referred to as Section 7 expenses, and those are extraordinary expenses that are shared by the parents in proportion to their incomes.
Okay. Now, are both parents responsible to support their children financially after separation or divorce?
Absolutely, both parents are responsible to support their children, and when there are some federal child support guidelines that deal with child support, and even if one parent is paying to the other parent child support, the way that it's constructed, it takes into account that the parent who has the children who may be receiving child support is contributing a certain percentage of their own income to those costs.
Okay. Now, how is child support calculated?
In the most basic level, child support is based on how many children do you have? Are they under the age of 18? If they're over the age of 18, it could be dealt with differently. What is the income of the parents? How is the living arrangement between the children shared? And so on a basic level where one parent has the children for most of the time or more than 60% of the time, and they're both under 18, then there's a chart, the federal child support guidelines, and you would determine what the paying parent's income is, and you say, this is the income, number of kids, look across, there's the number.
Okay.
And in a situation where someone has the children more than 60% of the time, there's little or no discretion to that.
Okay, so it's pretty cut and dry, pretty easy to find that number. Next question that I have though is, can couples make child support arrangements outside of the guidelines?
You can if you're sharing parenting.
Okay.
If you've got a situation where, as I said, one parent has the child for more than 60% of the time, that is called, it's not called shared parenting, it's sole parenting, and you have to follow the guidelines. But if you have shared parenting where you are sharing time and responsibility and opportunity cost in relation to the children so that you each have that at least 40% of the time, then the starting point is to figure out what one parent would pay to the other based on their income and what would the other parent pay to the other parent based on their income, and that's the starting point for discussion. But you have some discretion to choose your own numbers that make sense. But you have to be able to convince the court that those numbers are reasonable.
Gotcha. Okay, so there's a little bit more involved than just you two coming up with a plan and being okay. It still has to be approved.
If you're married and you want to get a divorce, that's the one area that the courts have some discretion over, and if inappropriate arrangements are made for the children, they can refuse to grant the divorce.
Gotcha. So that's very good information for anybody who is going down that pathway. And it's best to talk with Marla or Pierre, any of the other lawyers at Boileau Family Law Group, because sometimes you just don't know what you don't know, and you need the advice of a professional lawyer who can help you and guide you through this process. So next question I have for you is, when does child support end?
Child support ends when a child is no longer considered to be a child of the marriage if it's a divorce situation, and that's defined in the Divorce Act as being under the age of 18 in Alberta, because that's the age of majority. But it can go past the age of 18 if a child is unable to withdraw from their parents' charge because of illness, disability, or other cause. Another cause has been defined to include post-secondary education.
Okay, no, that's really good. I did not know that. I thought it was cut off at 18, and that was the deal. So there's some more information that's available, and you should always ask a professional before you get advice from a layman like myself. So how can somebody get started with Miller Boileau Family Law Group?
Pretty easy. Just give our office a call at 780-482-2888, and you'll either be connected with a lawyer or you can be set up to come in and have a consultation with one of our lawyers.
Fantastic. So it's very easy to get in touch with Marla or any of the lawyers at Miller Boileau Family Law Group. And if you got something out of this content, please share it along, let somebody know about it, and give us a thumbs up. If you have any comments, please share them, or just give the office a call directly, and Marla will be glad to speak with you. And we'll see you guys on the next one.